ideology of the curriculum. Now we're going to see the third philosophy of language teaching, which is learner-centeredness. As compared to academic rationalization, which emphasizes on the role of literature to inculcate certain educational values, and as compared to a social and economic efficiency model. Now we're going to see the learner-centeredness model and its significance or role for language curriculum design. Okay, so learner-centeredness is sort of an educational philosophy. Okay, I mean it's a belief, as you might remember me mentioning in the beginning in one of the previous segments, like I have firm beliefs about language teaching. I have certain philosophies about language teaching, and my own practice is influenced by those ideologies. So similarly, like I've got ideology, I've got belief that about learner-centeredness, like learners should be put at the center of learning, and I believe in learning by doing. So this is my belief. Your beliefs of language teaching might be different from that of my beliefs. So the whole point which I want to drive is like we have certain educational philosophies, and this philosophy of learner-centeredness revolves around, realizing individual needs of language learners, and it also examines their personal experiences, subjective experiences of language learning and self-reflection, and to make them critical thinkers. Right. Learner-centeredness is largely influenced by constructivist philosophy or constructivism as a concept of language teaching. Right. This mainly, emphasizes on active participation. I mean, learners are seen as creators of knowledge, and they are seen active participants, key protagonists in the process of language learning, right? And one of the earliest or one of the founders of this philosophy was Dewey, and we've got a decent quote here, a very brief one, outlining the tenets of this philosophy. There is no intellectual growth without some reconstruction, some reworking. Beautiful one. I mean, it's language learning in the light of this quote could be seen as a collaborative effort instead of seen as solely the job of the teacher. So it's what this tenet emphasizes, that language learners are at the center of learning, and we've got how constructivism influenced language curriculum design. Let's see it influenced in various ways. For example, when the notion of listening comprehension emerged, as many of you might know what means by listening or reading comprehension. Let me briefly tell, like reading, listening, comprehension is about giving some prior knowledge or prior words before the task is actually undertaken in the classroom. So the prior knowledge could help the learners in comprehending the task itself, about whether it's about listening or reading. So this reading, listening, comprehension, is seen one of the elements of learner-centeredness. And learner-centeredness has its own, this philosophy's got its own distinct features as compared to academic rationalization and social and economic efficiency. These features are like individualized teaching. For example, a class is seen as as a collection of individuals having different needs, different styles of learning. And so this is the job of the curriculum designers, to design the curriculum in a way which could meet the needs of different learners. And then this actually, as like I said before, it mainly emphasizes on learning by doing, and obviously when it's something collaborative effort, so naturally there would be no prescribed curriculum. So this sort of learner-centeredness largely is seen the product of the teacher, how to develop materials and apply them in the classroom. So we've talked about, that in brief, learner-centeredness as an educational philosophy has its application to the field of language teaching. And this, in brief, sees language learning as a process rather than a product, where the learners can be given certain strategies and whereby they can become independent learners.